My adventure for today fell through a little bit, but it's kind of all the same because I am completely exhausted from yesterday, and I thought it would be a cool day to do a little bit of a different kind of adventure, more of a technical adventure. So we're going inside the computer, the camera, whichever. It's adventures in editing. Here we go. First one, maybe of several. Who knows? Let's take a look at some stuff. All right, just a couple quick points to talk about based on stuff I talked with you guys about. The first thing is something that I love and that I hopefully am going to be exploring a little bit more in the future, and that is transitions. This is just the idea of how to get from scene to scene in a fun or at least expositionally interesting way. And the requested thing that I talk about was in a previous video the other day, in which I did this. It is time for wings. Now, I'm not like super thrilled with the way this turned out. Visually, it's pretty cool, and I think it works well. But the audio, the whoosh sounds are a little bit out of sync, so it's pretty frequent that I go back and look at a thing that I saw before and notice things that I could have changed or done differently, but that's fine. At some point, you gotta just sort of finish it. But this is like a lot easier than it looks. Really, what it boils down to is, I'm going to turn off my computer sound here, sitting here through the mic. What it boils down to is I have a couple different clips. This one is, actually, I think it starts in this clip. So right here, I'm standing here in this room, and I just take the camera, and I move my hand like I'm hitting it, and then I just whip it around pretty quickly, like this. That's all. There's my cat. But that's all there was to it. So then I know that I'm going to have this be in a progression that looks like I'm sort of teleporting between a couple different places. So I went down to my patio area and did that. This is like the trimmed version of what I had filmed, but I basically just started in one direction, moved, stopped in the center, then moved really quickly again, and I just pick a moment that's pretty blurry in between, like I go frame by frame, and take a look and find a spot that's blurry. You know, this happened to be actually, okay, I can go back out here. So I started way back here, and I just went like this. Yeah, and I just stopped right there. And then, I just face to the right, pick a frame in between that's pretty blurry, and just bump them right up next to each other, and it has a pretty cool effect. This is a sound effect that I found on a website called Free Sound. It's freesound.org. I just wanted a whoosh sound effect, and I didn't want to have to pay for it. So I know YouTube has a sound effects library, and I'll talk about the YouTube audio library in another video probably, because that's where I get most of the music that I use for this. Yeah, that's really like I said, it looks a lot more complicated than it actually is. For wings. Yeah, kind of a cool effect. I really like transitions like this because it's more interesting than just being like, and now I'm going to this place. Cut to the next thing, so that's kind of boring. Anyway, something I plan on utilizing a little bit more in the future. Something else that I've been asked to talk about is syncing up sound. As a matter of fact, in this video, like right before I started, I did this. We are recording video. Get the sound synced up. That's it. This was the thing that I 3D printed the other day, a couple weeks ago, months ago. I don't even remember. Time means so little, practically. Yeah, this was that finger slate I 3D printed. I just, you clack it together. I kind of explained it a little bit in that video, and I lined this up with the sound from this microphone or my portable recorder, and it's just a visual and audio way to make sure that you have a definite point that you can use as a frame of reference to line stuff up. Simple as that. In a lot of the cases, like in one of the interviews I did at Cadillac Ranch, I just had them clap, and I lined the clap up with the peak on the audio waveform, so nothing too complicated. Something else you guys asked about was how I do voiceovers. I'm pretty new to this, so maybe I don't have like the best workflow for it, but Premiere, the software that I use, makes it really, really easy. This is obviously not like a video on showing you guys how to use Premiere, but basically any video editor will have some of these capabilities, like being able to record a voiceover or being able to layer clips and stuff. So yeah, just play around with whatever you have, if you have an interest in doing this sort of thing. Otherwise, buckle up, because we're going on a journey. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so sorry. Okay, so for this video, I actually had a script on my second monitor, and I just typed up the entire thing based on the footage that I knew I had, based on the information I knew I wanted to get. This is the first time I'd ever done anything like this, was for the Cadillac Ranch video, and so I wrote it all out, and based on how it fit into what I was trying to do, I would intersperse video, or I would add sections of script and sort of try to do it that way. It worked out really well, and I think I'm going to start doing stuff more like this in the future, because I think it'd be really fun. But let me give you a little taste. I'm just going to record this first beginning section pretty much exactly the way I did when I did it before. I'm just zooming in here. This is my voiceover track down here. What I'm going to do is mute this, and I'm going to add a track that is a mono. Basically all that means is the microphone I'm using would only come in the left headphone or speaker, and I want it to basically come out of both equally. I'll leave that for another time, but so I have this down here, and there's a little button down here called voiceover record. So I'm going to show you how this went, and I'm going to read my script at the same time. So we're just going to do the first paragraph, and I know I want to start talking right about here, so I'm going to put my playhead right here, and I'm going to push play, and it'll actually jump back a little bit and give me a visual cue on the screen as to when I'm about to start. So here's how that would look. I'm going to put some headphones on real quick, just so I don't overload or confuse the audio that's happening. This is how we do it. Yeah, here we go. This is how it goes. For those of you who've never heard of it, Cadillac Ranch is kind of a bizarre permanent art installation off the interstate in an empty field just outside of Amarillo, Texas. That wasn't all that hard at all, was it? And I'm pretty sure if you look at these waveforms down here, I was pretty close to how I read it when I recorded it yesterday. But then from this point, I can I'll play it back for you so you can see how it sounds. It's not going to be exactly like it was before, because I did a couple audio processing things to bring up the levels and make everything kind of consistent. But here is how it sounds. For those of you who've never heard of it, Cadillac Ranch is kind of a bizarre permanent art installation off the interstate in an empty field just outside of Amarillo, Texas. Pretty simple. That's how I did the entire thing based off my script. I dropped in videos when it lined up with what I wanted. If I didn't quite have something that I wanted to talk about, I just pulled some images off the internet and talked about those, and I automated them in a way that sort of zoomed out and made it more interesting than just showing up a regular image on the screen, but that's for another video. Last thing I wanted to talk about really quickly is stabilization, or like not getting such shakiness in shots. I just recently got this, and by recently I mean like January, so not super recently. But it is a 3-axis motorized stabilizer for smartphones specifically. I don't remember the exact brand or anything, but the brand is not important, that's what I'm trying to say. It works because it has 3 motors, one here that does this, one here that does this, and then one here that does this. And so all of these 3 work in concert to make sure that it's doing exactly what you want it to do with minimum jitter. The big question, do you need a stabilizer? No. Alright, there we go. Okay, I'm kidding. Of course you need a stabilizer. No, I'm kidding again, I'm sorry. You don't. What I'm coming to find out is that, like, as long as you have ideas and you're creative about what you're doing, you don't need like super fancy gear. I'm acquiring more and more gear, like I'm filming this on a new tripod right now. But like, do I need this? Not necessarily. Like I have my Gorilla Pod, the little flexible thing. Actually, let me show you. Usually when I need something that would require like a regular tripod, I've just been using this. It's flexible. I can pretty much like wrap it around anything and then just film on it that way. So, you know, if I need a tripod, I just find like a tree or, you know, something that's relatively tall, and I just put this around it, and it gives me a fairly stable shot. I got the tripod because I wanted to be able to get more consistency with like standstill shots. But all of this to say, getting new gear is cool and fun, especially for me, but it's like not required whatsoever. Okay, now that that's out of the way, I want to show you a little bit of the differences. I filmed the same shot. I said shot. I filmed the same shot 3 times using a variety of stabilization techniques. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you that now. Anyway, I hope all this was a good demonstration of kind of what I do, what I'm about, and maybe it'll inspire you to start doing some of your own things. It was less adventurous than I would like it to be, but it was fun, and I needed a day. Tomorrow is super exciting and fun, I promise. And then the rest of the week is too, because I'm going to Albuquerque, obviously, because everybody in the friggin' world is going to Albuquerque on Thursday. Right? Just me? Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow.